Basic integer rules. When you're dealing with numbers that have different signs, or even the same sign, there's a set of rules you need to follow. The rules are different whether you're adding or subtracting versus multiplying and dividing. If you're adding or subtracting and you have the same sign, both positives or both negatives, you simply add your numbers and you keep the same sign that you're dealing with already. If they're different signs, you find the difference of the two and take the sign of larger numbers. I'll give an example of those in just one moment. When you're multiplying and dividing, the rules are a little bit different. If they're both the same, your final answer will be positive. So if they're both positives, your answer is positive. If they're both negatives, your answer will also be positive. If your signs are different, you simply multiply the numbers and your answer is negative. Now, to show some examples of what I was talking about. Let's say you start off with the positive $5 in your pocket. You get to school and you want to buy something that costs $3. So you've paid out or now owe that person $3 to get the item. You take the difference between the two. 5 minus 3 is 2. And since your 5 is a larger number and it's positive, your answer is also positive. But you don't have to think of those rules every single time. Just use common sense. If you have $5 and you pay out 3, of course you're going to have $2 left over. Now let's say, for instance, you had to borrow $8 from a friend. You get your allowance, which was only $5 this week, and you're able to pay him the 5. So, you had borrowed 8, you now have 5 in your pocket. You pay this for your friend the $5 you owe them. You take the difference, 8 minus 5 is 3. Your sign of your larger number is now a negative. So now your answer is also negative. But again, using common sense. If you owe someone $8 and all you're able to pay them is 5, of course you're going to owe them $3. So remember, positive means you have. Negative means you owe. Now, let's look at multiplying and dividing. There are two simple ways to remember this if you have a hard time with the rules. The rules aren't that hard. Let's review them. If they're the same sign, a positive and a positive, your answer is positive. If they're the same, negative and negative, your answer is still positive. Same thing goes if they're different. Doesn't matter which order, whether it's negative positive or positive negative, your answer will be negative. One simple trick to remembering this, some of you like, is the Tic-Tac-Toe Rule. There's no problem with that. You simply put the additions down the sides, your negatives along your edges, and you follow your order. If it's a positive and a negative, if you have a positive and a negative, your answer is negative. If you have a negative and a positive, your answer is negative. 2 negatives, your answer is positive. 2 positives, your answer is positive. So you can even go down. 2 negatives, positive, positive, negative, so forth. Any way you follow the tic-tac-toe board will give you your answer. Another way to remember this, using the same tic-tac-toe board, since it's already set up, is to think about a good situation versus a bad situation. If you have a good person and something bad happens to them, that's a bad thing. If a bad thing happens to a good person, a bad thing. If a bad thing happens to a bad person, that would be a good thing. And if a good thing happens to a good person, that's a good thing.